go ahead and turn it over to Edison Boinano talking about Southern Ecuador.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I hope everybody is doing well, and please stay safe. Try to get the vaccine, and you will be ready to enjoy this amazing Southern Ecuador trip, plus many more trips with the nature super winds. You know, the Southern Ecuador, look at this jewel. Start with this jewel, you know, this is the new Hummingbird.
Oh, let's get the share screen, Edison.
Pardon?
Can you do the share screen?
Yeah.
We can't, it's not, it didn't come through.
Let me see.
There it comes. All right, now we're on it.
Yep.
Perfect.
All right. So, you know, I just told you, good evening, everybody, and I hope everybody is doing well. You know, get the vaccine and ready to go and enjoy me and rock to this amazing Southern Ecuador trip. You know, just I start with this new jewel for the science, blue-throated hill star. This one, it was found 2 years ago, 2018. They find this bird and they were doing the research. Just last year became a new species for the science. It is endemic to Ecuador, found in the southwest Ecuador in a high elevation, paramo habitat over 13,000 feet. That is part of the Arcos, Cerro Arcos reserve. Hokotoco Foundation, I think, is try to buy more land to save this species. Okay, so let's start. You know, the Tumbesian area that we'll be covering in our trip, the range is very limited. So that is southwest Ecuador and northwest Peru. So if you haven't been in that habitat, probably 80% of the birds that will be seen in this tree will be alive first for everybody. The route that we have, so you know, we fly into Guayaquil, that is at sea level. In this tree, we start sea level and then we move up and downhill, because we will be traveling from the west to the east in the Andes, covering a little part of the Pacific Ocean. So, you know, we have Guayaquil and then we move more to the south, Machala, and then really to the border with Macará. Macará is the border with Peru. And then start climbing again to Loja City, Zamora, Vilcabamba, this is a longevity valley, and here is the area. Parque Nacional Podocarpus is the border with Hokotoco Foundation, and Tapichalaca Reserve, where is find the Hokotoco and Pita. And then we move again to the north, Cuenca. Cuenca is the third city in Ecuador after Guayaquil and Quito, and it's beautiful city to visit. And then we travel again from Cuenca to Guayaquil. Okay, you know, the dry forest, you know, the dry forest, we only have 1% remain of the original dry forest. So also, if you have been in Africa, you know, you will think of Asia, you will think you are there because these dry forests look like you are in Africa. This is a deciduous forest. The wet month is from January to April, where we'll see the green. And after that, the trees lose the leaves. You know, in this area, we have 60 species are endemic and 21 are considered tenderness worldwide. We have 9 endemic mammals species there, more than 700 species of vascular plant. 20% of them, they are endemics to Ecuador. 221 species are recorded in one of the reserve close to Cerro Blanco, just next to Guayaquil, and 8 species of amphibians and 12 species of reptile found in this reserve. The forest that will be visiting in this trip, you know, of course, the dry forest is our main forest. The altitude go from sea level to 800 meters. And then we have, you know, the foothills, 800 meters to 1200. and then more high elevation is cloud forest, and finally we have the Paramo forest there. We start with the birds. You know, this tree is focused to see at least 500 species of birds and 50 species of hummingbirds and many endemics. The altitude that will be covering is from sea level to 13,000 fields. A Basilia hummingbird is one of the Tumbesian endemics that probably will be seen just outside of our hotel. Is one of the common species that we will see in our trip, but is only found in the dry forest. I am going to mention many times Tumbesian endemics. So you need to think the Tumbesian endemic is only found in Peru and Southwest Ecuador. So the range is very limited for these birds. And of course, if you don't visit this habitat, you never see these birds. Collar strike is another bird that is Tumbesian endemic. This is a nice male, black and white with a nice crest. This is a fairly common bird to see in the dry forest. This move in a mixed flock or sometimes in a pair. This is the female. Collar strike is totally different. Female is pretty, you know, with the brown, with this marble face. Once we leave Guayaquil, we visit one of the reserves called Manglares Churrute. They have a nice lagoon, a nice pond. Is where we find the horned screamer. This species is quite widespread in South America, but is always nice bird to see in our trip. One of the species of pygmy owl is the Pacific pygmy owl. In some books, you will read like Peruvian pygmy owl. That is the same species. I mean, it's the same bird, but we call the new field guides for Ecuador still calling Pacific pygmy owl. It's only found in Southwest Ecuador and Northwest Peru. It's endemic to the Tumbesian forest. A streak-headed wood creeper is another bird that moves in a mixed flock. I am going to remind what is a mixed flock. The mixed flock is where you will see different kinds of birds at the same time, like wood creeper, woodpecker, flycatchers. So one of them is a leader. One of these species, it moves and is fairly common, is the streak-headed wood creeper. Another beautiful bird that we hope to see and we look for in the dry forest is the red-billed sidebill. Corupe Reserve is one of the reserves belong to the Hocotoco Foundation. So that's a great place to look for one of these. Great cheek parakeet. This is another nearly endemic bird that we will see in southern Ecuador and northern Peru. It's very restricted to this dry forest. Another one is a scarlet-backed woodpecker. It was considered a Tumbesian endemic and is a Tumbesian endemic, but right now this species is moving far north. This species is also seen in one of the Chocó forests around Mindo area too. So the range and the habitat for this species, we are losing some habitat and they are moving more north to get the right habitat for nesting. Crane hawk is another quite fairly common bird that we will see in Manglares Churrute in Cerro Blanco Reserve. A snail kite, that is really bird that is common bird. When we are leaving from Guayaquil, we will see this snail kite just sitting on the wire. That's really, I don't know, so you know, really tricky, because I heard in the state find some snail kite is really awesome bird to see, but here is quite common bird to see, and we will see many of them. Also, this is widespread bird, you know, because you will see this bird also in the Amazon. Crimson-breasted finch. This is another beautiful bird, Tumbesian endemic, only found in the area of Corupe Reserve and Cerro Blanco area. Of course, in the Northwest Peru too. Once we have done with the sea level birds or sea level areas that we visited, we drive up to the mountain to get to the Yunguilla Reserve. You know, once we are traveling in the southern Ecuador, we are going to visit and we will stay in all these lodges belong to the Hokotoco Foundation. So we help and we support a little bit for the conservation in the southern Ecuador. Hokotoco Foundation is doing a great job, especially to save forests for some endangered species. And one of them is in this Yunguilla Reserve. This is the pale-headed brush finch. This bird, it was not seen for at least probably 25 or 30 years. And then Niels Gravel was doing a research looking for this species. And they find in a place, in a canyon in the Jubones area, between Machala and Cuenca, is a town called Santa Isabel. It's about probably 5,000 feet, and is a scrub habitat, bushes, and they find this one. When they find this species, they find only 5 individuals. Right now, probably they are about 250, and the population is increasing a little bit, but is doing a great job, this Hokotoco Foundation, to conserve all this habitat for this endangered species, especially in the southern Ecuador. This could be one of the species, one of the most rare species on the planet, and we will have a good chance to see. Right now, the ranger is feeding this bird. So when we visit Yunguilla Reserve, we hike with one of the rangers because they put some oranges to feed. That's crazy. So I mean, it says the birds are amazing. They are crazy. So this bird, the population of this bird is increasing. So that's great. And look at, you know, nightingale thrushes, tapaculos, and pitas, they are really hard bird to see. We recognize by the song or the call, but to see is very hard. This is not a nice picture, but it's just to show you how this bird got to feed in this Yunguilla Reserve. And it's one of the specialties to get now in our southern Ecuador. This is much better picture that I want to show you. This is the oranges that the rangers are putting in the morning to feed the pale-headed brush finch. They put also bread or corn. But look at this chestnut crown and pita. Learn to feed from the oranges too. I just can say so. Birds are smart. Once we finish with the Yunguilla Reserve, we start moving downhill again to go to the Buenaventura Reserve. The Buenaventura Reserve is a tropical forest. They are about 2,000 feet, and we start seeing some lowland birds like these green honey creepers. This green honey creeper is widespread from Central America to South America. But one of the specialties would look for in the Buenaventura Reserve is the Guayaquil woodpecker. That is a nice male. You will see, I hope you can see the dot here. Just the male has this dot, you can recognize for that. And when the bee connect, they connect like a bee. So because there is another similar linear woodpecker, but the bee never connect. So this bird is found in Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru. Purple crown fairy is a hummingbird widespread from Central America to South America, and we will see just outside our cabins in the Umbrella Bird Lodge. Another really beautiful bird is this green thorntail. That's one of the common birds that we'll see at the feeders from the dining room. Another nearly endemic, all the time is just walking next to our cabin, is the great and gold warbler. This is only found in Southwest Ecuador and Northwest Peru. This is one of the specialties we have together. Another bird is quite widespread here. I mean, in the Chocó and Tumbesian forest is the violet-bellied hummingbird, but in the Chocó forest is hard bird to get sometimes, but in southern Ecuador is one of the common hummingbirds that will be seen at the hummingbird feeders. Another Tumbesian endemic is this gray backhawk. This gray backhawk is found only in Peru and Ecuador, but the range is increasing a little bit, especially in Ecuador. They are moving more north to the Chocó forest because I have seen in the Chocó forest these species. So I hope the population of these species is increasing because it was considered one of the scarce and rare birds to see. Another bird that is really good chance to see and photograph is this rufous-headed chachalaca. This rufous-headed chachalaca, you know, you can imagine where was no the Hokotoco Foundation, where was no the Umbrella Bird Lodge. To see one of these birds was really lucky because they are scared and they have been hunting for many years. Right now, we will see just outside of the cabins or in the bananas or papayas feeder. Oh, this one could be our wake up call in the morning, that's for sure. They are really noisy birds. Chestnut-throated toucan or chestnut mandible toucan, you know, this is a widespread bird, but it's always to see. It's always nice to see, and we will see just probably from our cabins. I just put a little pictures, you know, so you can imagine how is the trail for this umbrella bird. I am doing the umbrella bird dance. We're after seeing the umbrella bird. This is the trail that they have a sign here, and they make a nice carving. You know, it could be more interactive because I have this question. Guess what is this? You will know immediately. This is the long-wattled umbrella bird. That is a male. Look at this one. In this reserve, Buenaventura Reserve has this long-wattled umbrella bird lake. You know, the lake is the place where the males go to display and to attract the females. So they have a nice lake. I have a small video, it's not displaying, but you will see how big is the wattle of this male. And probably you can imagine probably 10 of them around you doing the call like, ooh, that's amazing. So this is another target bird in our Southern Ecuador trip. El loro parroquí, this species, it was considered almost extinct when they find it. It was on the 17th when they find this bird. And for a while it was disappeared in the area because the habitat, it was losing so much. Right now in Buenaventura Reserve, I don't know exactly how many hectares of this reserve. I know they have 7,095 acres. So that is a good patch of forest for this species. This species is found in the secondary forest. And one of the nice things is the foundation is putting some boxes. So they are using for nesting and also for roosting. And the population is increasing. I don't know, the last time I was there in the reserve, I was asking to the ranger how many probably they esteem there is moving around. Probably more than 1,000, hoping that, but the population is increasing, and that's a good news. You know, look at this. This is a beautiful, and this is Ecuador endemic. It's only found there in umbrella in the Buenaventura Reserve. Another nice bird that we'll see at the feeder is the Andean emerald. Cotinga family also is moving around the umbrella bird lodge. This is the scale fruit eater. This is one of the scale fruit eater. It's found in the southern Ecuador, also northwest Ecuador, plus you will see also in Peru and Colombia. But this one is one of the scarce birds to see. And we have a good chance to see this bird in our southern Ecuador trip. One of the fairly common birds that we'll see from the lodge is this bar hawk. Every morning when it's sunny, it starts soaring about 9:30. We have a nice chance to see. Sometimes it fly really like eye level. Of course, the lodge has a veranda, and so the veranda is high, so we can see eye level, enjoying this view of this bird. Purple-chested hummingbird. This is again mature purple-chested hummingbird. This is another good place to see this bird. Also, this one is found in the Chocó forest, but in the Chocó forest is a little scarce or rare. In the southern Ecuador, we have probably 70% to see this beautiful hummingbird. You know this bird, you know, white-necked Jacobin. This is a widespread bird. You will see from Central America to South America, but it is always nice to see this beautiful bird. And we will see it's quite fairly common or common hummingbird at the feeders in Buenaventura. One of our target birds will be the Pacific royal flycatcher. There are a chance from the roadside, another there is a trail they have made and they call Pacific Royal Flycatcher Trail. You know, I have been birding for more than 20 years and I didn't have a good luck to see all the display they made. But I have seen this bird, you know, this is a little patch they have to display all the way. But probably I hope to see that soon. Barred pubbird is another bird that needs just secondary forest. And we will see, it's one of the fairly common birds that we'll see just below to the cabins. I just put some picture of the lodge. This is the Umbrella Bird Lodge. This is where we stay. This is the dining room. And here is, you know, a small balcony with the hummingbird feeders. And this is our cabin. So the lodge is really nice. Cabins are great, hard water and delicious food. So what else you need? Once we finish at Umbrella Bird Lodge, we travel to Horupe Reserve. Between Umbrella Bird and Horupe Reserve, we stop in a town or close to a town called El Empalme. El Empalme area is more deciduous dry forest. We stop to look for more nearly endemic birds, like this pretty white-headed brushbeam that is only found close to El Empalme and also in northwest Peru. But this species is getting harder and harder because it's no reserve, it's nothing to protect, and people are still cutting the forest down. So we are losing more forest in the southern Ecuador. But hoping there are a couple patches they could be still for this species nesting. Another hammer is, you know, the Tumbes hummingbird. This is not a good picture, but the species is good, not colorful, but it's very restricted range. You know, Tumbesian endemic. It's always great to see some birds, they are very restricted limit, like in Peru and Ecuador. This is the main tree called Sabo tree. That is part of the Bombacia family. And probably you know the cotton tree. People call cotton tree sometimes. This is the forest that will be seen at Horupe Reserve. It's amazing in this reserve. You know, before all the lodges and this Urraca Lodge and the Horupe Reserve, it was very hard to see one tinamu there. We heard all the time. We got the rest of the endemics, but to see one tinamu was really great at the time. Right now, the rangers are putting some corn to feed the tinamu, and the tinamu is coming every morning to feed. So we have a great opportunity to see and photograph a species that is quite rare to see in the open. Is another Tumbesian endemic. Plus another Tumbesian endemic go to feed the corn is the black-capped sparrow. So remember, Tumbesian endemic, Southwest Ecuador, Northwest Peru. Another one, but is known the corn feeders, is the Ecuadorian trogon. It's the only trogon that we will see in the dry forest. It's quite fairly common to see this species. Another one go to the papayas or to the corn is the white-tailed jay. That's one of the beautiful jays. If we compare with the other, this is one of the beautiful jays that we will see. You know, this blue, purple color, white, black face, and white patches on the face. That's make just so pretty, this one. Also, it's noisy like the other jays, and it's a Tumbesian endemics. We will see it really on photograph well. Whooping mudmot was one of the 5 species. It was split from the blue crown mudmot. The whooping mudmot is only found in southern Ecuador. Another nearly endemic and Tumbesian endemic is this Tumbes pigui. Usually this Tumbes pigui we'll see from the parking lot. You know, the flycatcher is like the Easterwood piguis, you know, when they choose one branch, they start keep feeding, you know, flying up and down and perching on the same branch. This pigui do the same thing. Another beautiful and colorful thrush and Tumbesian endemic is this plumbeous back thrush. And then you will see, you know, how go in the morning to feed these papayas. One of the nearly endemics and Tumbesian endemic is this pretty Ecuadorian piculet. They speculate moving a mixed flock. Usually we'll see this bird from the veranda at the lodge, watching this eye-level mixed flock moving. So that is one of the target birds that we'll look for in our southern Ecuador. Pacific parrotlet, is one of the tiny parrotlets that we will see in the trip. Also is endemic to southwest Ecuador and northwest Peru. That's one of the amazing, because usually we're seeing a flock of the 5, 6, 10 birds flying together. It is quite common bird to see in the dry forest. You know, wrens, sometimes wrens are difficult to see. We hear more than seeing, usually, but this superciliary wren in dark forest, in the dry forest, it compared with us. So we can see in the open, like in the picture. That is another Tumbesian endemics. Yellow-tailed oriole is another that we will see in the dry forest in the Horupe feeders. And there is another oriole, but I don't have a picture yet. That is a white-edged oriole. That is a Tumbesian endemics, of course, that we will see in our trip too. Look at this red masked parakeet. The red masked parakeet is another Tumbesian endemic. But if you will see, you know, this parakeet is feeding the corn from the ground. Let me just show you a small video. Look at how birds learn to feed from the corns. You have white Achilles squirrel, red masked parakeet, female blue grand dove, and white tip dove in the back. It's amazing. Sometimes the birds learn well. At night, we look for another endemic, West Peruvian screech owl. That is another Tumbesian endemic dry forest. But the good thing is, you know, the rangers, they know what they roost or what they find roosting. So just they take us to see roosting. This was photographed in a daytime. You know, it has a perfect camouflage with the tree. It looked like part of the skin of the tree. But we have a good chance to see and photograph these species in our southern Ecuador trip. You know, once we finish with the birds in the dry forest, we start climbing again to the Andes. On the way to Utuana Reserve, we stop at a town called Sosoranga. We stopped to see the church, but we check the nest for the chestnut collar swallow because they built the nest on the tower of the church. That's why we stopped to see the church. This is another endemic find in Peru and Ecuador. This Sosoranga town is about 5,000 feet. You know vermilion flycatcher, that's a widespread bird, but it's always nice to see this beautiful bird. One of the surprise and really close to Macara is a town called Zapotillo. I don't remember exactly how many years ago, a guy find this bird, Tumbes tyran, was endemic to Peru. It was only found in northwest Peru. But this bird started moving more north. You know, remember, we don't have migration like you are having right now. You know, the warblers are moving to the north now for breeding. We have altitude migration. So they move up and down depending where is the food. Probably this one was looking more food to the north because there was more food to the north and it crossed the border. Of course, they don't respect border. They don't know border. And it was good because we got one new species for Ecuador. And of course, it's always like that, you know, you got one and you lose one. So we got one and Peru lose one endemic. So in Zapotillo is another dry forest. And this bird go next to Apache forest to the dam trash in Zapotillo. Is very responding when you call in. And usually we don't know if it came for seasons, wet season, dry season. We don't know exactly if it's a seasonal bird or probably we are hoping it could be a stable population for our country. Condog is another bird that we look for in the White River. Just the border, the line, you know, the line with Peru, there is the Macara River, and we have a chance to see this condor just from there. Once we are doing this trip, we also enjoy the sunsets. This is a beautiful sunset. It looked like this picture was took in Africa, but no, that is in southern Ecuador. This is the Urraca Lodge. That has a beautiful cabin, nice veranda, and the lodge is in the middle of the forest. So we are watching birds all the times, and the feeding station is in the other side. Rainbow star frontlet is another Tumbesian endemic. We will visit another reserve belong to the Hocotoco, Utuana Reserve. That is about 8,000 feet. So they have a nice hummingbird feeders, and we have a great chance to see and photograph this rainbow star frontlet, nearly endemic. Another, look at the color of this, the rainbow color. That's amazing. Just, I love it. But you know, with the hummingbirds, we have to see the right light and the right motion, because all the times could be just dark bird. When we have a perfect light, we will enjoy to see these jaguars. Another nearly endemic that we will see in Utuana is the purple-throated sun angel. It's only found in Ecuador and Peru, and Utuana is the best place, or the only place in Ecuador to see these species. Like I told you before, you know, they move up and downhill. We can see probably different locations, but close to the same area. Silverback tanager is another beautiful tanager that we'll see in our trip. This is moving in the cloud forest about 8,000 feet, and we will see at Utuana Reserve. Red-crested cotinga is another great bird to be, quite fairly common bird to see in the southern Ecuador. Once we finish the high elevation, we move down again, probably about 1,000 feet or less than 1,000 feet, checking again for the dry forest. We look for another nearly endemic species, Tumbes sparrow. There are three locations that we can see this sparrow. I know and the habitat is still around, and I hope the people just leave the habitat in that areas close to the airport in Loja. Yeah, Icatamayo too. Drop seed eater, that's another Tumbesian endemic. Is found also in the dry forest next to. If we will see the Tumbes sparrow, we will see the dry seed eater. You know, for any reason they move together, or they are moving together like in a flock. Then when we finish with that, we start traveling, move up again, and we stay in Loja. Loja is about 8,000 feet. Next day we visit Cajanuma. Cajanuma is part of the Podocarpus National Park. Podocarpus National Park is the biggest, or is one of the biggest national parks in Ecuador. Cajanuma is the high elevation. So it's about probably between 7,000 to 8,500 feet, and it goes to 13,000 feet. The meaning of Podocarpus is the name of a trip, one trip. There in that habitat, we will see the bearded one. This one is another nearly endemic, only found in southeast. Now we are in the southeast Ecuador, and the southeast and the northeast Peru. So it's found in Ecuador and Peru. Another bird that look for in Cajanuma is the bar fruit eater. This is quite fairly common bird that we will see, and we hear all the times when we are close to the main station in the park. Of course, the roadside birding in the park is great. We have so great mixed flock there, and we look for one of the pretty birds, quite fairly common, is the crimson mantle woodpecker. Our Christmas bird, we call Christmas bird. This is the grass green tanager. That is another bird also we will see in a mixed flock. Once we are in the Cajanuma National Park, we check one of the trails there. And I like to do this Also the Anteojos Trail or Spectacle Bird Trail. Why? Because that is a good chance to see this Chusquea tapaculo. The meaning of Chusquea is a bamboo, is a native bamboo. So in the trail, this bird came to the open. Sometimes, or most of the time, we have a great views of this bird. You know, tapaculos is hard birds to get. We heard or we recognize just from the color, from the song easily, but to see it take time. Another bird usually is a good chance to see the Ratcaja Numa or Tapichalaca. Tapichalaca Reserve is the home for the Hocotoco and Pita. You will see this obsoleted tapaculo, or we look for this obsoleted tapaculo, and we have a great chance to see this spectacular bird, one of my favorite birds to see. Once we are at Tapichalaca Reserve, the lodge called Casa Simpson. So we have some hummingbird feeders outside of the cabins, and we will see this MS-throated Sun Angel. This MS-throated Sun Angel is found in Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru. Look at this flame-throated Sun Angel. This flame-throated Sun Angel is found in Ecuador and Peru. In the high elevation, is about cloud forest, 8,000 feet. But look at how glittering is this throat here. I made this video in Casa Simpson at the feeders, but look at the color of the throat. It's like a flame. Beautiful hammer. Beautiful hammer. Of course, one of the prettiest too and the quite common birds at the feeder is the collared Inca. We will see also the chestnut-breasted coronet. Sometimes it gives you a nice photo opportunities like this one. It's another common hummingbirds at the feeders there in Casa Simpson. You know, these white-throated quail dove or quail dove, good quails are hard birds to get, to see. Now, when we are walking on the Quebrada Honda Trail to see the Hocotoco and Pita, the rangers, they build a nice blind and they put some corn feeders. So these birds go in the morning or probably stay all the time around the corns. So we will see on our way to see the Hocotoco and Pita. So that's good because quail doves, they are very hard birds to eat. Another birds that also is around the area, but they were feeding just next to the cabins, is just chestnut snape and pita. Look at this big Hocotoco carving they made. This is the Hocotoco and Pita. Hocotoco and Pita, you know, in 1997, there was an expedition to the southern Ecuador. There has been another researchers before this expedition. Of course, this expedition was led by Robert Ridgely. You know, Robert Ridgely is the author of the Birds of South America, Birds of Ecuador, you know. He's an expert in South American birds. And they heard one strange call. The researchers before them, they have a confusion because there is a rufous-banded owl in that area. So and they heard this like, ooh, ooh, like an owl sound. They were thinking it's rufous-banded. But in that group, nobody knew what was calling. So they record and they play back and they respond quickly. And everybody was crazy because especially, you know, Robert Ridgely says, I never seen a bird like that, must be a new species for the science. That is the way that they find these species. Thanks to this bird, most of the birds in southern Ecuador, especially the birds that are in critical status, like pale-headed grasspins, the Loro parroquet, you know, long-wattled umbrella birds, are protecting that. So this is the bird that start a big conservation in Ecuador with this Hocotoco Foundation. Hocotoco Foundation probably has like 17 reserves right now in all over the country, but most of them are focused in the southern Ecuador. And they are doing a great job with conservation. So when we stay, we help them to protect a little bit more because they can buy more forest to keep healthy all this population, in this case, for the Hokotoco bird, for Hokotoco and Pita. You know, they feed the earthworms every morning and they name it. Its name is Panchito. And people, after seeing the Hokotoco and Pita, that was crazy. This is just a picture I put, you know, we cannot touch Panchito, but Panchito can touch me. And I just let me tell you, when they start feeding, I have trips in a row. 3 trips in a row, January, February, March. When we saw the Hokotoco in January, they make just a small window through the bamboo. So we were so happy to see, you know, the Hokotoco full view, clear feeding. We were so happy. Next month, February, I come back. They make a big window, and we will see really well, much better than the first one. On the 3rd, in March, was unbelievable. We have the Hokotoco and Pita on our feet, like that. So, I mean, the birds are smart, I say. And things also, they know more about the breeding, the nesting, because they were doing a research when the Hokotoco and Pita was nesting. So also, the science sometimes helps, you know, for these species that we really is unknown. The people says it's finding also in Peru, but exactly I don't know where in Peru, but it's like once I asked Robert Ridgely if he is thinking this bird is in Peru, and he said, show me the bird. That is, you know, the things, but you know, I hope this bird is still healthy. Population is growing slowly, but this is the reason that the conservation in Ecuador is great. One bird changed everything in southern Ecuador. It was amazing. Also, we will see this Rufus and Pita. This Rufus and Pita, you know, is quite widespread bird in the Andes. They were feeding next to the Hokotoco and Pita station. Another target bird in our southern Ecuador is going to be the gray-breasted mountain toucan. This toucan is rare in the northern Ecuador, but in the southern Ecuador, we have more chance to see this bird. This is the view from the cabins in the Casa Simpson Tapichalaca Reserve. Another target bird is the golden plume parakeet. This golden plume parakeet is found in Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru. And there is also the rangers at Tapichalaca Reserve. They have put some boxes. So this bird is using for sleeping, and we hope for breeding too. This is the Casa Simpson. That is the lodge. Nice cabin. This lodge is about 7,500 feet. Another target bird that is in this area is the white-breasted parakeets. That is an Ecuadorian endemic. It is found on the foothills about 3,000 feet. Marañon thrush is another nearly endemic. Once we stay at Tapichalaca Reserve, we drive down all the way down to a town called Valladolid. Valladolid is in the Marañon area. So we start watching some Marañon endemics like this Marañon thrush. I just put this picture because I want to mention, we will pass a town called Vilcabamba. Vilcabamba is a longevity valley. It's where we'll see people more than 100 years old. The climate is nice, it's really good. The food is healthy. And the most important, I think the people live without stress. So, but that is the longevity valley. That's a nice, and it's a nice town. And by the way, we will have a lunch there, you know, watching the main square. That's really nice. Then we go and travel to Copalinga Reserve. That's another Hokotoco reserve. You can imagine tinamos and pitas, tapaculos. They have been, or they are, difficult bird to see in the open like this great tinamo. In Copalinga Reserve, they are feeding this great tinamo. They are feeding with corn. And they have been doing this for probably 5-6 years now, I think. But it takes a while to take, I mean, it takes a while this bird learn where is the food. But right now you will see in the morning and in the afternoon. I just put a small video and you will see how it is feeding. This one, it was made in the afternoon. All this nice experience you can enjoy in our Southern Ecuador trip with us. And the lodge has a nice garden. So this is the vervain flower that is very attractive to these violet-headed hummingbirds. Another target bird is the spangled coquette. You know, spangled coquette is found in Colombia, Ecuador, Peru. But that's one of the best places to see and photograph this beautiful bird. Little good star. All of them got just to feed in the vervain. Lodge has a nice hummingbird feeder, but this species never got to the feeders. They stay just in the vervain. Once we are at Copalinga Reserve, next to there, this is a Bomboscaro area. It's part of the national park, but it's the lower part. It's like in the other side, but the lower part, foothills. Here, we look for, first, the Bomboscaro is great for butterflies. If you are interested in butterfly, it's amazing. Probably you will see, like, if you know butterflies, like 200, 300 species of butterflies. It's crazy. We will just enjoy, I just started learning with butterflies, but we have more than 6,000 species of butterflies. So it's going to take long time to learn more the butterflies. One of the target birds that in Bomboscaro is this coppery-chested jacamar. This coppery-chested jacamar is nearly endemic. It's found in Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru, only in the foothills. So Bomboscaro is a great place to see. With also this another target bird with this Andean modmot in the foothills. Andean crocodile rock is another cotinga that we will see in the trip. But this Andean crocodile rock is orange. That's in the east. In the west is red color, but we will see in the Bomboscaro area. It's not many lake like in the northwest, but there is couple areas that start licking or they try to learn licking, but the Bomboscaro National Park is really great place to look for one. Another target bird in the tree is this Amazonian umbrella bird. You can imagine to see 2 umbrella birds in one trip, more than 500 species, more than 50 species of hummingbirds in one trip, 2 weeks. That's amazing. That's insane. So this Southern Ecuador is for that. Enjoy, and we will have fun watching all these birds. The mixed flock is great with the tanagers. Look at these beautiful paradise tanagers. You have to see 7 colonies in this bird. This is quite fairly common bird in a mixed flock, plus the spotted tanager too. Another one is really great to see. This La Fresne spiculate. It's another small woodpecker is moving a mixed flock, finding in the foothills. One of the common woodpecker is the yellow-tufted woodpecker. Also, this is one, sometimes a mixed flock, but most of the time is a single or a pair flying all the time just next to the cabin in the Copalinga Reserve. This is the lodge. This is the beautiful lodge. Just let me tell you, this lodge is one of my favorite in Southern Ecuador. Or is my favorite in Southern Ecuador. It's really nice, cabins are great. The food is delicious food, and just the garden are amazing. I really love this place. Once we finish, we travel more north from Loja to Cuenca. It's like the loop start moving back to Guayaquil. So Loja, Cuenca. In the middle is a town called Saraguro. We stay in Saraguro because the next day we will visit Cerro Arcos. That is where blue-throated hill star is found. So we have a great chance, a great opportunity to see this new hammer for the science. The habitat is a paramo. It's found over 12,000 and 13,000 feet, but nobody has a trouble with the altitude because we drive to that altitude. And basically we walk to one patch and we stay there because they like these chukirawa flowers to feed. And we will see this amazing bird. Once we finish there, we travel to Cuenca. Cuenca is one of the pretty cities in Ecuador. This is the cathedral. So, and then the next day, we will visit El Cajas National Park. So that will be on our way from Cuenca to Guayaquil. La Toreadora Lake is about 12,500 feet. That is a paramo habitat. There we will find this red drum bush tyrant. El Cajas National Park has the best polylepis forest in Ecuador. The polylepis forest is the only tree grow over 10,000 feet. So there are birds specialized on this forest. Red drum bush tyrant is one of them. So we can see Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, but it's rare. Everywhere is rare, but for some reasons, we have a great chance, or I can say we have 80% chance to see this bird in El Cajas National Park. Probably we will see this bird. Another one is specialized in the polylepis. This is the giant conbill. The giant conbill, that's a beautiful bird, only find at high elevation, 12,000, 13,000 feet in the polylepis forest. This is another target bird in this southern Ecuador trip, Ecuadorian hill star. You will see feeding on the chukirawa plants. So we will see around Toreadora Lake many plants with chukirawas, and we keep an eye on this bird because it's one of the targets that we'll see. This is another Ecuadorian endemic, only finds southern Ecuador, polylepis forest, paramo habitat. Probably Toreadora Lake is the best place to look for this species, violet-throated metaltail. Is one of the rarest hummingbirds that we will look for in our southern Ecuador. Iridium metaltail is a colorful bird that we will see in El Cajas National Park, high elevation habitat paramo. Another one is really great bird to see, teeth-like darkness. That is a nice male. This bird is only found in the polylepis forest. And I can say in Ecuador, only in El Cajas National Park, because they have the best polylepis forest in Ecuador. We share this bird with Peru, nearly endemic. Many striped canastero is one of the fairly common birds in the paramo habitat. Is found in Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru. Very restricted range. So it's like if you don't visit the paramo, you don't get these species, you know, because high elevation is less species but unique, and you start moving to down, foothills, tropics, Amazon is full of birds, but paramo is a special habitat. Blue-mantled thornbill is another beautiful hummingbird that we look for in El Cajas National Park. I can say this bird there is quite fairly common, so we will see this one. Brown-backed chat tyrant is another common bird moving just around the refuge or next to the trail in the Cajas National Park. Hooded siskin is another fairly common bird that we will get. Another one we really look for is the most colored thistletail. This bird is nearly endemic. We share with Peru. And El Cajas is a great place to look for this species. And the tip spine tail is another fairly common bird in the paramo elevation that we will see this bird. Chestnut wing cinclodes, it was split from the bar wing cinclodes. So the range for the chestnut wing is Ecuador and Peru. Quite fairly common and common birds in the paramo elevation. Another one is the stop-bill cinclodes. It's similar, you know. If you can compare, just look at the bill here, you know, straight bill, short. This is the curved bill, long and thick. And of course, one of the easy ampitas. to get is the Tony and Pita in the Paramount. This is the one of the easiest. You can imagine this tree, it was not designed for ampitas, but at the end of the tree, we can get at least 10 species of ampitas. So that's another amazing thing in the southern Ecuador. Once we finish, you know, we have another proposed. You can do the pre or post station in the southern Ecuador. Why? Because we will visit North Guayaquil, is this Machalilla National Park. Ayampe Reserve is another part of the Hocotoco Foundation. So the Ayampe Reserve is the home or is the habitat for the Esmeralda's Good Star. The Esmeralda's Good Star is another Ecuadorian endemic, only found in the Machalilla National Park. This is a nice male. The best time for this species, I can say, is from December through March, because there is a private house where they put some vervain, and this bird goes to feed that month. We don't know what is the reason and disappear. We don't know the population of this bird, or at least I don't know how is the population of this bird. And this is the second smallest bird on the planet, and it's endemic. Look at this is another male. This is the female feeding in this private house. But another reason that we have this extension is because we visit also this Machalilla National Park. Isla de la Plata, knows like poor man's Galapagos. Why? Because we can see 3 species of boobies: Nazca, blue-foot boobies, red-foot boobies. That's why it's poor man Galapagos. This is a Nazca boobies. Look at. I wanted to ask what is this species, you know, but probably you know. This is the species. Look at blue-foot boobies. That is found in the Isla de la Plata. That is a mating time when we visit. We will see all these boobies all year around. They don't migrate from there. Another thing is the way albatross. We will see also is 1 pair or 2 pairs visit the islands. So we have a great chance to see. If we don't have a chance to see Galapagos, we can do these extensions to see this way albatross. Red-billed tropic birds also is found in Isla de la Plata. Collar warbling finch also is found there, but this is nearly endemic. We share with Peru. Like this croaking grand dove also is found there. And of course, this Pacific hornero, that is quite a fairly common bird that we will see in the dry forest. Thank you very much for joining me in this expedition to the southern Ecuador. I hope everybody enjoyed. And if you have questions, it will be great to know.
Well, thanks, Edison. Anyone have any questions? You can toss them in the chat or unmute and ask if you'd like to at this point. All right, I guess we may not be. Lots of thanks and wonderful photo comments there. So
Thank you.
people had a good time, and so I don't think we have any questions this evening. But thank you all for joining us, and we really hope to have you join us on a trip sometime, especially sometime in southern Ecuador as travel gets back to normal. And thanks for joining us tonight, and keep an eye on our Saberwing Nature Tours website for additional programs, and we hope you'll join us sometime soon. Thanks and have a great evening.
Okay, good night, everybody.